a panel of superstars, but we all are, right? Every one
Yes.
of us. So I'm
Yes.
going to introduce each of you and share a little bit about you, and then we're going to get started, okay?
Hmm.
So let me introduce to you. First, we have Elise Daly Parker. She's a life coach, writer, and speaker. Her passion is to empower women to create a life they love that aligns with their priorities, passions, and purpose. She helps women bridge the gap. That sounds familiar. Bridge the gap between their current reality and the life they envision. Elise has been married to Chris for 40 years. She's thankful for 4 adult daughters, 2 sons in love, and 3 amazing grandchildren. Welcome, Elise. I have to
Thank
ask,
you.
so when we are doing the bridging the gap, were you just like, yep, no big deal? Or is it still a struggle even for you?
No, well, I actually was like, oh my gosh, that's singing my song.
Yes,
I mean, I think
exactly.
that's basically all of our goals, right? We have the real life and we have our desires and dreams, and how do we get those two things to meet in the middle?
That's right.
That's the
That's
gap.
right. Yes. All right. Next, I'm going to introduce Carrie Peterson. Hi, Carrie. She
Hey.
she is a digital marketing strategist, an Enneagram 2, and journaling enthusiast. Me too. As the owner of Faith Forward Communications, Carrie helps ministries, small businesses, and solopreneurs amplify their message with purpose and strategy. That was my word this year, by the way, amplify. When she's not crafting impactful social media plans, she's a wife, mom to 2 adultish kids who keep life hilariously real and always on the hunt for the perfect combo of tortilla chips and warm cheese. As a
Hallelujah.
longtime friend of iBloom, she was excited to jump back into the Dreamer community at the beginning of the year after a bit of a break. She has seen impactful growth, intention, and purpose this year and is looking forward to what 2025 will hold. Welcome, Carrie. And I love that you're going to share about coming in kind of in the middle, because we have a lot of people who we are hoping will be newbies in our community. So, and next, not last, but next we have Elizabeth Sanders Park. And she has been an iBloom dreamer since 2021. She is author of the book No One is Unemployable and a creator in the field of career development. She loves Jesus and worships at the Episcopal Church, is a wife and mother of 3. She lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, and is a slow, happy triathlete who wants to live 50 more good years. Welcome, Elise. Elizabeth? No, we
Yes,
cannot.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth, but we cannot hear you, hon.
Oh, no.
Let's see what we can do about that. But each one of you holds such a special message and a contributing factor in our dreamer community. Every single lady there does. Some weren't available, so like we only have so much time here, right? But what I want to say too is each one of you, if people want to know more from what I read, go to the private Facebook group for iBloom 2025, and they can share a little bit more about how you can reach out to them if you want to find out a little bit more about what they're doing. There, I just put that plug in there, Kelly. I hope that's okay. So, Elizabeth, let's hear you hum a little tune, see if we can hear you. No, can you unplug all that? She's going to work on it. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And as soon as you think it's working, Elizabeth, just kind of put your finger up and I'll try to pull you in. So the first question I'm going to ask is, and this is to you, Carrie, okay? I'm going to ask you and I'm going to respond as well. What inspired you to join the Dreamer community? And knowing that you popped in, you were a dreamer in the past, I guess, right?
Yes.
But then you jumped back in this year. So what inspired you to join in the beginning and then jump back in?
Yeah. So I really felt like, and it was actually the beginning of February, so wasn't too far behind the curve, but I really took time and space to remember what the supportive community and space there was the first time, and how it propelled me to keep accountable. And I do a lot with clients and with cohorts all over the country in my business, and it's not all a Christian based business, right? And that's okay. I want those people in my life. If you don't have those, let's chat about that. But
Yeah.
I wanted those, but I wanted a place where I could dream big, stay rooted in my faith, be propelled in my personal growth, and then just network and be like, oh, right, these are my people. These are my people. And I really needed to get back and re-engage that way.
Right. Well, you've been such a welcome addition. And for me, what inspired me to join the community was being here on this retreat in 2017. And I was so broken and so just like lost. I had just went back to school trying to like explore and see what I would do with my empty nest life that I didn't ask for. And there was so much love and grace and understanding, and they were meeting me right where I was at. I was afraid for the retreat to end, and I was like, I need to be included somehow. How do I stay connected? And that's when the Dreamer was actually just kind of starting in like January, February 2018. So, oh, it was a breath of fresh air for me. And I did go through a lot with exploring, right? Like I was in school, then my mother got cancer, and how they just every exploration I was going through to find myself after Olivia died, just walking through and feeling that love and that grace, and you are right where you are supposed to be, never feeling behind and never feeling the need to compare myself to other people. So that's what inspired me. I felt I needed it. Like, okay, I've got this at the retreat. What am I going to do when they're gone? So, anyways, and I'll share. We did this letter that we'll hear about later. I wrote in there, somehow, someday, I'm going to be connected and a part of the I Bloom community. And so then I was part of the Dreamer, but then here I am as the MC. So it's just like, look at that, how God takes things full circle. So it's very exciting. Can I hear you, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yay! Okay, let's go to number 2. How has being part of the Dreamer community impacted your life or helped you pursue your vision or a major goal or dream? And Elise, let's go to you first.
Okay. So you're not talking specifically, you're talking kind of more generally, right, for all of us. Basically, I am so aligned with what you said, Dawn. It's so awesome to be here for this retreat. And then it's like, I forget about all those wonderful things that I came up with and all those priorities. And so when I found there was follow-up that I could be a part of, plus I'm a big community person, big collaborator, I like a lot of feedback. And we get that not only from Kelly, not only from Dawn, but from the whole community. So that has been so inspiring, so motivational. It has kept me on track and helped me get back on track when I've fallen off.
That's so true. And for me, back to the first question about what inspired me, I had a lot of great support in my life, family, some friends and stuff, but I was needing something outside of the grief and the personal stuff, where I was going to be like lifted up and kind of move forward. And the community really has helped me do that. Carrie,
Yes.
how about you? How has being part of the Dreamer community impacted your life or helped you pursue a specific vision or dream goal?
Yeah. So at the beginning of the year, I knew something needed to pivot a little bit in my business. And little did I know that God had a big pivot ready for me for as we walk through the year. But the community really helped me refine my vision for that. And reach new clients and kind of have some confidence and some starch in my spine about that. And I love that. Like, it's just so important to have those things. I love being my own boss. I'm the best boss I've ever had, and I am a rock star, I will tell you. I love being able to work in my jammy pants. That is all like my love language. But it gets a little quiet and it gets a little lonely. And I'm an only child, and I'm a third generation only child. So, like, we are a long line of people that don't need a lot of other people. But this was so important to me to have that community again, that not only are there people that when we meet for Dreamer, we can communicate and be held accountable and cheerlead and grieve and do all of the things, but even independently, I know that I can reach out to Elizabeth and say, girl, you said something today that rocked my socks. Do you have time this week to talk about that? Elise, what you said today really inspired me to do this thing. And so that becomes important. So that core becomes little shoot offs. And that's precious when you need just little bits of community, exactly what you need, exactly when you need it.
That's right. Well, we're all our own bosses, but we are not bossy at all, are we?
Oh, no, I am.
I'm
You said it, I did.
not.
Well, and it's so funny because being a part of this, I consider Kelly my boss and Dawn, right?
Mhm,
Like they're the
mhm.
bosses. When I say Dawn, I mean Dawn Wilkerson, by the way, our hero
Yes.
behind the scenes, by the way, our
Yes.
heroine. But they kind of are, and sometimes I'm looking for them to like tell me what to do, and they're not going to do that. Except for Kelly will always lean on, I think you need to take some time and bring this and just sit with the Lord in it, right? That's
Mhm.
always the go-to as well.
Well, I think that's an important point, though, Dawn, that we get this group support,
Yeah.
but we do have a fearless leader in Kelly and in Dawn as well. But with Kelly, you do, and again, Dawn too, we do get some pretty personal coaching, even
We
though we're
do.
in this group. So
Right.
I want to just
That's
point
right.
that out. That's important.
Right.
That's right. It's and just to make it clear, this is we call it the Dreamer Community, but it is group coaching. Kelly is a life and business coach, and she
Yeah.
brings that to us. And there have been times where we're walking through something, and she'll just stop and she'll bring it. But somebody is sharing something, and she'll use it as an opportunity to coach that person on the spot, and we
Right.
all get to see how that works and to maybe use that in what we're struggling with or working through or trying to achieve. So
And she always asks permission. She won't do that without
that's
making sure
right.
the person's comfortable. Yeah.
That is very true. She does. She's a gentle lady for sure. So Elizabeth, how does the Dreamer community help you stay focused and accountable to your priorities and routines?
Yeah, this has been huge for me. I've been doing the community for 4 years, and I used to wish there was a month between New Year's Day, like I guess New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, right? Because I was never ready for the year. And so it would take me really till January 31st to get ready. And that's not the worst thing. But now it's completely changed my life because I will be ready for January. I'm not ready now. And I just posted in the chat. This is the point in the retreat every year where I'm like, I just went in the last hour from bring it on to, oh my gosh, I have 100 things to record, go through, review, everything. But I have 3 weeks before the year starts. And then we have the weekly dreamer call to walk it all out.
Right.
But this has helped me do everything we're doing in the retreat, cast the vision, sit with the Lord, think big, go deep, all of that. And I think the way I think of it is quality and quantity. This community helps me really increase the quality of my life. I'm not flying by the seat of my pants. I'm not just putting out the fires in front of me.
Right.
I take time every year, every quarter, every month, every week, and every day
Mhm.
to think about, why am I here? What
That's
is
right.
important? And Kelly talks about, building a life on purpose and doing what's meaningful and being intentional. And those words were always words that I loved, but they weren't really a part of my daily life until this community. So that quality, that depth is a part of my life now. And then the quantity, the not just, why am I here and who do I want to be, but what am I doing? When am I getting it done? That's
That's right.
also happening. So both the depth, the quality, and then the task, getting it done part really comes to life, especially if you are in the dreamer community and you show up every week.
That's right.
And I'm not there every week right now, but for years I was there every single week. And that's one of my commitments for this year as well. I'm
Yeah.
not going to miss. This year I was kind of on again, off again. And it didn't go so
Due
well.
to
So,
some personal situations and other commitments that pulled you
well, and
aside, right?
and just,
Yeah.
I thought the big progress or the big programs I was working on, I thought I'd get more done in an hour if I didn't come to the dreamer call. It turns out I should have come to the dreamer call. I would have got more done. Every hour I put into the dreamer call gets me more than an hour back. It's like
Yes.
working out. You
Absolutely.
never work
Yeah.
out and think, man, what a waste of time. You always get it back. The
Yes.
dreamer call is like that. So,
Exactly. We kind of were pacing partners there for a while. Like both of us were just always there, because
right.
for me, it's easier to show up live than the replay, which I do. There
I
was a
know.
while there I was doing both and so
Yeah.
let's keep moving. And thank you, Elizabeth. That's beautiful. Elise.
Yes. I
Denise?
love.
Yeah.
Well, I just love I think that's really important. Intentional living is such a great idea, but it is so hard in reality if you don't have
Yeah.
support. And I
Because,
think that is, yeah.
well,
What
we're
were you gonna
coming
say?
up with these great plans, and for me, it's the execution.
Yeah, of
Everybody knows
course.
I'm a great planner. I
Yeah,
learned to dream finally. I even started establishing a vision, and then I just looked at it.
yeah,
Like, what do you
yeah,
mean I have to do it, right? And
yeah,
that's what the consistency in the community and the group coaching and the support and the love and people reaching out saying, "Hey, I heard you. I wasn't there, but I heard you share this. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering for you. I'm praying for you."
yeah.
How are
It's
you doing
really,
on that? That's
really
wonderful.
amazing. Yep.
So
So I'll share a little success story with you, shall I? Speaking of dream, is that what you wanted me to do,
I was going to
John?
actually, sure, I was going to ask you to share a moment when the community helped you overcome a challenge,
Well,
actually.
okay, so it started with a dream, which is writing my memoir,
Mm.
and it's literally like a 32-year dream, which is a very long dream. But we have to trust the Lord's timing. And so finally, this year, or about a year and a half ago, I really decided, okay, I'm going to do this thing. But slow and sure, and definitely staying on track through the community and accountability and all that kind of stuff. But then I was at a point where I was like, listen, I really need support from this community. I really need your prayers. And I'm going to ask you to pray for me and support me in putting my hand on this book every day for an hour, like to just keep that step-by-step momentum going. And the whole kind of consensus and feedback in a beautiful, loving, gentle way was, no, you've got to put swaths of time. It was a true challenge to get this book done. It was kind of like I could write it, but could I get it done? And so
Mhm.
they're like, just give yourself it whenever you can. I am, a successful nester, so my kids are out of the house, but I have some time, but I just, all that I needed. And finally, I put in 2 weeks of pretty dedicated time with the support and love and encouragement of this community. And I have finished my first messy draft of my memoir. So that is, like, as I say, 32 years in the making and a year and a half to actually do the thing. And that is momentous. I don't think I would have gotten it done without this
Right.
community.
That's true. Um, and it's been beautiful. It would like, I don't know who's more excited when you shared that, you or the rest of us,
I
right?
know. It's so awesome to have that love and support.
I have a couple more, but I do want to acknowledge a few things in the chat here. First of all, beloved daughter, you asked how you learned to dream. I think it was trusting my dreams again, because after Olivia died, and just to let you know that she did die by her own hand. So it was so traumatic for me. And I was home and everything, and we were so, so close. But it was letting myself dream again and just trusting what is coming to me, trusting those things that I wanted. And learning to love myself, I had to have healing, had to get through some PTSD and things to recognize it, but also to feel worthy of it, because I was feeling, you deal with the guilt and all, whatever our circumstances are.
Mhm.
When we're blocked, we need to get to the root of what that is. And for me, it was I didn't feel worthy. I didn't trust. It's not that I wasn't trusting God, but I was really struggling with the why. Why did you allow this and stuff? And I will share with all of you, if you are struggling with the word why, the question why, whatever it may be, the answer for me came in Deuteronomy 29:29. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but all those things that He is revealing to you are for you and your family to live out the remaining days of your life. And for me, that scripture came at a time when I could receive it, because my job the first couple of years was in this community was healing and learning to lean into my husband again. And somebody asked that question, is it for people in business? We have a variety. We have solopreneurs, entrepreneurs like Kelly, who is running a big business. We've got people who are in the business world working full-time jobs. We've got teachers, we've got homemakers, retired folks who are leaning into dreams and now working as solopreneurs. And for me, that first couple of years really was like learning to get up and put those feet in front of the other, walking with my mom through cancer. So we are in different places. It is for anyone and everyone. Don't you all agree? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
it's not a one size fits all at all. It's amazingly individual, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is. It
No.
really walked me through so many different seasons and everything. So let's keep moving here and ask. I know we're loving our time together, so we're going to keep going. How has a dreamer community helped you keep your vision for the year alive and actionable, even when life gets busy or unexpected circumstances arise? I'm going to direct this first at Carrie, and then if either of you want to, we'll come to the other two for a quick response as well. So,
Yeah,
sorry.
so I kind of piggyback on what Elise just said. I think that the most interesting kind of mind-boggling part of it is we each individually have this core vision, right? And we want to make sure we keep that intact. But the strategies and the accountability and the way the community works creates this place where we can each have that core vision. You know, my rebuilding my business stuff is way different than writing a book, is way different than healing. But the strategies and the accountability and the community make it to where no matter your core vision, those strategies are going to impact that and make it accessible and workable. And then you just can keep moving forward. So we're all progressing in very different ways, on very different visions, but the routine or the way to get there is kind of a group effort, and that's beautiful because then we
Yeah.
can we're still getting, and there's no I really appreciate the fact even in that there's no, well, she's doing it this way or she's succeeding that way. It is, listen, I survived last week and I am celebrating that today. My big win is I survived it. And
That's
we're
right.
like, yes, sis, that's awesome. So I
Mhm.
think that those kind of things help really, when I had an unexpected summer, some things come up with my mother-in-law. We couldn't when I wrote my letter to myself, I had no idea those were coming, but
Right.
the
Right.
strategies in the community really helped continue on what my core vision was and keep that in front of me. And
Mhm.
that's important, I think, to all of us.
I think that I knew that about your mother-in-law and stuff too, and it's so important because there are times I don't want to show up because it's like I've had a lot of struggles with my 29-year-old son, or when my mom got ill again, or this, and you're like, well, I don't want to show up and make it sound like I have all these excuses for why I am not this. But the beautiful thing is every single one of us have pauses in what we're doing.
Right.
That's the way life is.
That's right.
And it's teaching us to still show up and you always are hearing what you need to hear in those days you really weren't going to show up, right?
Truth. And
Yeah.
also, sometimes we're coming around each other and encouraging each other to rest and to take care of ourselves instead of pushing forward on the train. And so I think that's really important too. This is not like
Right.
if you don't get to that thing that you said you were going to get to, then we are all disappointed or we're going to keep pushing. No, sometimes it's like you need to step back and do what you need to do to heal or to connect or whatever the case may be. So.
That's right, very true. Elizabeth, do you have anything to add about when life gets busy or unexpected circumstances?
I would
If you
just say
had
that
one or two.
yeah, yeah. Same thing. Like I wrote my letter and I love my letter. I actually listen to it every day, just about.
Mm.
But life changes. I will say life changes less when I
Mhm.
listen to my letter every day.
Mhm.
Because when I used to listen to it every year, I was like, oh, yeah, that was great. I forgot I was going to do that this year. But now I listen to it every year. So life is a little bit more like that, but still
Mhm.
life changes. But the neat thing about it is we get to learn from the really amazing Kelly and her awesome, community here, all of her, like Dawn and Dawn. But also we learn from each other. And it's great. We learn all these tools and resources and techniques,
Mhm.
and we learn so much from each other because
Right.
in the dreamer community, in the weekly calls, we're like this. We get to see everybody's faces, and it's a lot more interactive. And I actually was a little bit not frustrated, but I was surprised at the first retreat I came to where it was more one way, and now I love it because I get to have all this quiet time and just think.
Mhm.
But in the call, it's more like this. We're all
Right.
talking and talking, not over each other, but yeah, so a little bit, we're just more together. So it's like a mini retreat, but a little bit different every week.
Well,
Mhm.
it's more
Good
like this
point.
for you, maybe, but I never look like this. The hair's up here, whatever. I mean, there was a Monday I joined where I was on the couch. I was so distraught. And it was like 5 minutes before, and I'm like, I'm not going on. I'm like, I did, and I showed up and swollen,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And it was exactly what I needed that day.
Yeah,
So we come as we are,
we're
everybody, and
together.
it's
Yeah.
wonderful. But
Amen.
what we were talking about, like we get advice from other people, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Like a piece of advice I've received from the community that's made a difference in my life. We can all probably shoot something off, but for me, here's a couple. This I kind of took this from, I think it was Kelly or somebody shared it in there, but it's like, when you're really struggling or when you're unsure, you just go to the mirror and you look at yourself and you say, sweetheart, what do you need right now?
Mhm.
And just that reminder, set aside the list. What do you need? I needed rest. I needed nourishing food or whatever it is, right? Or reminding me, Dawn, you were right where you're supposed to be, because I always felt I was so far behind. Like, okay, I know we talked about this 3 weeks ago, but I finally have an answer for it, right? No, I was right where I was supposed to be. Or a friend recently shared, don't let a slip become a slide. Just kind of reboot and try to get back on when you can. And
Mhm.
this is a favorite of mine from Dawn Wilkerson this year, because I'm such a black and white person, taking a look at, I did this or I didn't do this. Well, she taught us about being, looking at it in a way of good, better, and best. Looking at your week, looking at your month, looking at your achievements as good, better, best, instead of like, I
Love
didn't do
that.
it. Well, I
Mhm.
thought about it and I was thinking about it and I at least researched this. And so if either of you have a quick um, thing that you learned from somebody in the community you want to share, feel free to
Mm-hmm.
add it. So,
Well, I just think grace has been offered by everybody at different times, which has been a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
right. Jay Huckle says, how many people are in the Dreamer community versus how many attend the weekly calls? Well, it changes, but we've got a good core right now. Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'd say we have between 10 and 12 live every week on there now. And there might be, it's hard to tell from the Dreamer Community Facebook group because some are admin and whatever, but I think she has about 30 right now. Danette says my family constantly hears me say,
Yeah,
well, Dawn says, or Kelly
definitely.
says, yeah.
Definitely. For
But
years, I've been saying, well, my dreamer community or my iPlume community or Kelly says,
that's right.
absolutely.
That's right. But we are also in a position to grow this community because um, it's time. And Kelly's been very intentional in that. I can share that. Like there was a time where she, it was like, let's just keep this. And she's very intentional about anything she does. And we're gonna hear when we're done with this. I have one more quick question. I'm gonna share how everybody here can join it and to know that it's very time sensitive with when you can join. So, okay, Carrie, and anybody else too. I want everybody to answer this. What would you just say to someone who's on the fence about joining the Dreamer community? Because we are going to open this up. It's been closed, but we are opening. You're going to hear from me, and when we're done here, how you attendees can join the Dreamer community and be on it Monday when we're all together again.
Mhm.
Okay. So tell us, what do you say? Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I say
Sorry.
in the 12-step groups, we say it works if you work it and it won't if you don't. So do it. And I would say jump in and do it. And I don't mean to be negative because I'm almost never negative, but I would say if you're just going to buy it and not show up, then save your money and don't, which is not the point. But you gotta do it. You gotta show up and do it. So
Mhm.
I would say do it because, especially right now, because all of this goodness from the retreat will take on a life that will change your life if you get to come play with us on Monday and a week from Monday and 2 weeks from Monday. And if you're not there, you can do the recording. So
Right.
it is the best money you can spend, some of the very best money you can ever spend on yourself, your life, your marriage, your faith, your parenting, your kids, your business, you name it.
It does.
If you come and play, it will change your life. So do
That's
it.
right.
Amen.
That's
It's
right.
true.
And I'm glad you said that about the recordings, because when she says if you're gonna join and not show up, we do have recordings. They're posted that same day, and you're going to hear from someone tomorrow. I did a video call with her, a testimonial of somebody who works full time, and for her it's 10 a.m. and that's a middle of workday meeting. You'll hear from her tomorrow, but she is very faithful in watching the replays and responding.
Is it Tiffany? Be like Tiffany. Mysterious Tiffany, who watches every recording and then shows up twice a year, and she's like a rock star. She's, oh, Tiffany's here. It's like amazing when Tiffany actually joins us in person.
We all show up on holidays because we know Tiffany will be there.
I know. It's awesome.
Carrie, how about you? Give them some advice.
Yeah. So if you're on the fence, listen, I always say, I'm that girl that will come shove you off. Like if you need somebody to shove you off the fence, I'm that girl.
She is bossy. She said it.
Yeah. About seeking clarity. It's about getting support. It's about receiving accountability. It's about keeping your core vision. It's just shifted how I do everything. Just, you know what I mean? Like it really helps you shift and it's just a game changer for what it is that you want in your life. And I think that we can really, it's something, you know, that you mark out, you know, this is what's important. This is what's going to propel. And the last thing I will say quickly is that whoever said, how do I dream again? I think that is ginormous because I'm not necessarily like, I think for some people, if this is not you, quit listening a minute. If this is you who think, I'm not really a dreamer, I'm kind of a doer, I'm kind of give me a bullet list, give me okay, take dreamer out of it. Because if that is a sticking point, we don't just sit and go, you know what would be great? And so I kind of poke fun, but seriously, if that is things that feel like that might be holding you back or keeping you on the fence, take that out.
That's right. I'm glad you said that.
Call it the doer community. Because if this needs to be the doer community for you, then we got you.
Right.
Yeah. Through the doing, you will learn that those beginning steps of dreaming and learning to do that and really sitting in curled up with the Lord and go, okay, what are you dreaming for me? Those pieces start coming together.
Yes,
so I just really felt like that was important because I wrestled with that. Like, I don't know. Do I, but I think that it's not it's not about wishing and hoping. It's about doing and resting and relying on what God's purpose and plan is for one of us.
Dawn Wilkerson said that we don't wish for our visions to come into reality. We decide the activities needed and then do so that vision comes into reality. So the vision team or whatever. So you're absolutely right. Carrie. Elise, what are you doing?
Well, I just think I'm the counterpoint to what Carrie is saying. I'm the dreamer. I'm the idea person, and I really need to put feet to the ground. So this group helps me do that. So kind of, if you're either way, you're going to get the support and the accountability you need. And also the accountability. I mean, we can all come up with so many great ideas. But if we don't have a little mark that helps us see, I'm moving forward, maybe one step at a time. Sometimes I'm moving backwards. I need a little more encouragement. Sometimes I need somebody to challenge me a little bit. We get what we need when we need it. And I think that's a God thing. So I can't credit that to any of us humans. But God is good and he works through this community too. So
all the time.
I'm going to talk details here in a minute, Jay Huck. The dream, I wasn't a big dreamer either, but I'll share. For me, I always wanted to be, when I was a young girl, wanted to be a talk show host. It seems silly to say. And I have done emceeing for a number of friends' ministries in the past. I love to MC and introduce and highlight other people and bring energy to a room. I've helped raise thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for many organizations. And I always kept it in my back pocket. But when after Olivia died, there was no dreaming, no whatever. And one of the first things I I'm on the worship team as a vocalist. I had to learn to sing again because my breathing was off, my voice vocal cords
Mm.
got wrecked from that crying. And one year it was, you know, I took lessons from a vocal coach to retrain my voice, and giving myself that, because I'm a worship warrior. But here I am as an MC, and that's something I'm pursuing this year. Whether it be a talk show host or not, we could call Kelly's I Bloom Retreat a talk show. I mean, that's the way it seems to be at times. But anyways, that's what I'm doing. I'm a public speaker now. And so I'm living that dream from when I was a little girl. So I don't have a lot of, my dream is to be a great wife, mom, friend, daughter. That is really my dream, to be the best steward of anything he has given me. People, my finances, my home, taking care of my dog, the people in my path. And those are the dreams. Those are the real dreams. So don't let that word. Thank you, Carrie, for bringing that up. Thank you, beautiful friends. I'm so tingly. I feel like I'm going to cry now. Don't go away. I'll see you in 72 hours. Please be there.
And the bottom line is do it. Do it for yourself.
Do it. That's right. That's right. The investment. There's you don't get an equal return for the investment of time and money. It's so much greater, right?